How do you think not being honest with yourself will impact your interpersonal relationships? Not being honest with yourself career wise, let's put it this way. Let's just talk about the career for now. How can it affect interpersonal relationships, you think?
It's going to have a direct relationship to interpersonal relationships, I think, because your work, like it is going to occupy most of your waking hours for the rest of your life. For most of us, I guess there's some people who have the luxury of having some, like, I don't know, passive income stream or something. But for the average person, we are going to work. We are working. Most of our waking hours are spent doing our work. And so if it's not bringing you joy, and if you're not being honest with yourself about your work, it's going to start to wear on you. And I experience this myself, is it will start to show up in relationships. You aren't going to be a nice person to be around. I was a much less pleasant person to be around when I was selling ice cream for a living. And my wife told me that. I mean, I remember we were sitting down at dinner one night in Uxbridge, which is like a block away from the General Mills office. And I was talking about my job and how much I just like disliked it. And she stopped me and she's like, can we just spend one evening where you are not complaining about your work? And it's just like, let's just this one evening. So it will show up. It will affect other people in your life. Your friends might tell you things like, you're kind of like not that fun to be around right now. Or they'll tell you things like, hey, like, why are you so snappy right now? Like, what, like, why are you so angry about this? They'll notice things, not in like a mean, judgmental way, not like, hey, I
Yeah.
don't like you anymore, but in a, hey, like, what's going on with you? Like, something's up with you. And your good friends will tolerate that. They'll deal with that and they'll accept that that is just part of the season of life you're going through. But you'll probably put some people off. Yeah. I mean, I remember somebody asked me about my job. A friend's wife asked me about my job when I was at General Mills. And she's like, what does a brand manager do? And I kind of just like snapped back at her. And I wasn't very nice with my response. And I remember her saying, well, okay, I was just asking. Like, I didn't mean anything by it. And it was just me being annoyed at myself doing this work. And so, yeah, I don't think you're not going to be your best self if you are being dishonest with your work or your life. You're not going to be your best.
Thank you for sharing that. That makes absolute sense. It happened to all of us. To no,
Yeah.
seriously. It just you were you know, I I got to the point where I got mad at myself, not only you are mad at other
Yeah.
people, you get so mad at yourself
Yeah.
for not doing nothing about it.
Yeah. Like, it's like, why are you doing this?
And then the doubt creeps in, the madness, the anger, the resentment,
Yeah.
all the bad negative stuff, they just start building up inside.
Yeah. I I heard this somewhere where it's like, imagine you were a character in a movie and the audience is watching you. What would they be screaming for you to do? Because they can see it. Everybody can see it. Like, they know it.
Is re
Yeah, I heard that. That's not my lie.
That
I
is a
heard that somewhere.
very good
I heard
one.
that somewhere. I think I may have read it in a book, but I honestly can't remember where I read that. I read like so many different things right now. But like a lot of times people can see it.
Some people just give up on you at
Some
some
people will
point.
just give up on
You know?
you. Yeah. They'll say, you know what? This is your life. You deal with it. But just going back to the relationship analogy, I think we can all think of that friend of ours who's in a relationship where we just think, like, what are you doing? Like that, like everybody can see that that guy is like, you can do like way better. Like he does not deserve you, and everybody can see it. So it's like that with our careers. I think a lot of times people can sniff it out, and um, yeah, and people around you want to see you happy. They want to see you fulfilled. They want to see you doing work that you care about. That's what people in your life who care about you. That's what they want you to have.
Yes. Yes. What does nonlinear career mean to you? What is a nonlinear career?
So nonlinear career is typically like it's a term that people will use when they're describing not climbing up the typical ladder in an organization or a career path. So like a linear career would be like for me in marketing, it would have been I'm starting in as an assistant brand manager, then I'm moving to brand manager, then senior brand manager, then marketing director, then general manager, and then CMO maybe CEO one day. And I'm climbing this linear set of stairs.
Exactly.
Nonlinear is like, okay, I've decided to step away and maybe I'm changing companies, but it's even more radical than that. Maybe I'm leaving the energy industry and I'm moving in the automotive industry, or I'm a lot of the people on my podcast, like I'm leaving the world of ballet and I'm going to become a product designer. Or I'm gonna go from investment banking and I'm gonna become a nutritionist. Like that's not a common path to take. So nonlinear is probably not what people think of when they think of people's careers, but it is becoming increasingly common that careers are not going to follow this stair step path that they once did. I think Deloitte had a study that came out in 2018 saying that those days are over, that people are not going to just be in one company the rest of their lives.
Mhm. Thank you for explaining that. Do you think careers are designed or discovered?
Are they designed or discovered? Wow, I've never been asked that question before. They're probably. I hate to keep going back to this answer. Well, I'll pick one. I was going to say they're both, but I think that they're designed by you. Like I think it starts with discovering what you're interested in and what you're good at, what lights you up, and again, what you can get paid for, what the world needs. But I also think that we're in a day and age now where your your career isn't one that's just defined for you. I speak to plenty of clients, audience members, podcast guests who have designed their career. They have actually gone to their manager and said, "Hey, I'm not super happy in my current role. I'm not saying I want to leave the company, but could I do a little bit more work in this area?" And people will reshape the role sometimes, not always, but they'll sometimes reshape the role. I know people who have had roles created for them. Again, this is not probably super common, but it's happening. And I always tell my daughter, like, if you don't ask for something, it definitely won't happen. Like, you have to try to advocate for yourself, and you have to, if you have something in mind about how something should look or could look, I would propose it and give people something to react to. So I do think it's a combination of both, but ultimately the onus is on you to decide how you want your career to look. And it is a very iterative process. It is like you'll have a draft version of it, which for me was completely wrong, but that informed what I wanted to be doing instead. And then you also take elements of these, I guess you'd call them missteps, but you do take elements of that and you kind of redesign your career and you reshape it. So I see one's career as a dynamic, living, breathing process. And I do think it's worth reevaluating where you are in your life, what's important to you right now during this chapter of your life, and then reshaping your career accordingly if you can.
Imagine somebody decides to be brave and walk on the path of uncertainty and change, right? And then hits a lot of disagreement from the entourage and people who claim that that we know what is best for you. The person still insists, walks on the path of unknown, and as a byproduct or a side effect, loses the entourage and they end up being by themselves or being in solitude for a while. Mm.
By entourage, are you talking about like friends, or are you talking about like peers?
The people in their
The people
life,
in their life, the people in their life
like
are.
people in their life, most of them who are expecting that person to be certain way and to do certain things,
Mhm.
but that person decides to walk totally a different path.
Yeah, that's tough because obviously it's kind of multifaceted. Nobody wants to make choices that then alienate you from the very people who have been with you on this journey. Like, that's not a great feeling. I've had friends that have kind of faded from my life and have faded from, not because of career, but just fading in general, I think is not pleasant to lose friends. I guess I would I guess I would wonder if those people who were your friends still should be your friends, because if they're not okay with where you're headed and they're only okay with the version of you that you feel is not really appropriate anymore. I guess I wonder if those people still belong in your life. And I know that's kind of harsh, but I don't think that you should be making career decisions just to keep certain people in your life, because the people who should be in your life and deserve to be in your life, they won't mind what you're doing. Like, if you think about, there's a guy on my show named Deepak Shukla. Again, British Indian guy.
Chukla?
Shukla, yeah, Deepak Shukla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was, let's see, where was he working before? He was working in, I think he was working in tax accounting at a big name firm. And then he went off and he became a British rapper, like a British Indian rapper. Yeah, Deepak Shukla. And he said something that was really interesting. He said, like, if I think about my best friend, he said, I don't really think about his career path and exactly when he got promoted or what project he's working on at work. I mean, if you think about your best friend, do you even know their job title at work? I genuinely don't even know my best friend's job title at work. I don't know what level he is in the organization. I don't care. If I think about another friend, I don't know her job title. I know she's working, but I don't care. Like, I mean, I'm not friends with them because of that. So if you got friends who are only in your life because you got a certain job title, I think that's problematic. Um, I
Very good point.
yeah. There are people who work in, like, the startup world who will talk about this, where they'll talk about how once they achieve success, like, certain people suddenly started showing up. Because you have the opposite also, is now suddenly people wanna be your friends because I don't know, like, your company's about to go public, you're, like, a super high profile person, and so that also happens. So I think whenever you've got friends coming in and out because of your job, that is a bit of a red flag to me. Yeah.
That's a very good
Yeah.
point.
But I do think our lives evolve, and I think it's okay. It's okay if
And
friends.
people will fall off, people will
Yeah,
come in, people will
it's a bit of
go,
a.
and whoever that is supposed to stay will stay
I think
regardless.
so. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot about friendship these days. I think it's a topic I'm quite interested in right now. Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned that actually in the can we talk about
Yeah.
that a little
Yeah, we can talk
bit?
about friendship.
Let's talk about that because I think career-wise, we covered almost everything.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Do we have time?
We do have time.
So let's just talk about like around 10
Okay,
minutes or
that's fine.
so,
I'm really
or
enjoying this.
however
This is
you.
great. I'm enjoying this
Thank
conversation.
you. I appreciate that.
You're a
Same here.
great
Same here. I can talk
great
forever.
conversationalist, yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much for all the lovely insights. Let's talk about friendship.
Okay.
Friendship in this day and age with all the social media and everybody being glued to their
Yeah.
phone. How do you define today's friendship versus what we have learned and what we have experienced decades
This
ago?
is
We're not too old, but
this is such a
still.
big topic. I could talk about this for hours. I think so much.
You have 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I think a lot about friendship. I have always cared tremendously about the friends in my life, probably because I come from a very small family. And so I've got my family, but I also have my chosen family, which are the friends that I keep around me, and who I've chosen to have join me on this journey in life. And my friends have been incredibly supportive of me in my life, but I don't have a lot of friends. I don't think most people I talk to don't have a ton of friends these days. And in fact, I recently ran a friendship survey because I'm so interested in this topic. And I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but approximately 80% of the people who responded say that they have only made 0 or 1 friend in the last 10 years. So most people have only made maybe 1 friend in the past 10 years, um, which is really disheartening. And these people are kind of midlife, so they're like 40s, 50s probably. I'm in my late 40s. So I think friendship takes a lot of work these days. I feel like friendships have become very virtual, and a lot of friendships have been kind of reduced to texting, especially if you've got friends in different places like I do. So I think friendship takes a lot of work, especially in I'm going to call myself a middle-aged person, but especially if you're like middle-aged, maybe you've got, I don't know, whether you've got a family or not, I think middle-aged, you're not moving in harmony with the people around you like you were in like high school and college. So it's harder. It takes a lot of effort.
Especially when you are moving a
Yeah.
lot around different countries, different
Yeah.
cultures. Why do you think keeping friends is so hard these days?
I think they perceive themselves to be busy and that not keeping up with your friends doesn't necessarily cause any sort of immediate problems compared to you not doing your job at work or you not maybe being at home to tuck your kid in at night or you not being there for your partner or you not doing anything that has immediate consequences. I mean, if you don't talk to your friend for a week, like that's not, or a month or a year even, like I don't think you feel like anything bad happens, but your friendship will slowly erode over time. So I don't know, Shada. It really blows my mind because we have so many easy ways to stay in touch with people, whether it's messaging or I send video messages to people right now, and I mean, it's just so easy to contact people. So like, when's the last time you got a personal email from a friend? I can't think of when that happened. It's been so long since that's ever happened. So I don't know. I don't know, but I also know it doesn't take a lot. I mean, in that same survey I ran, the number one thing that people wished that their friends did more of was just check in. That's it. Not like meet up, not go fly somewhere together, not go to big concert, just like to just literally just check in. That's it.
You did a survey about this
Yeah,
subject?
I did a survey last month.
Would you mind sharing your questions?
Yeah,
What kind of a question did you?
I will pull it up right. So I didn't have this in front of me, but I asked. Well, I've been thinking a lot about friendship, and so I ran this survey asking people about their friends and the state of their friendship in their life. And I did this.
Where do you submit your service to?
I used fillout.com.
Okay.
And so sorry, it's gonna take me a moment, but the questions I asked was, how many close friends do you have? How many new close friendships have you formed over the past decade? What prevents you from maintaining or building friendships? And what do you wish your friends did more of? And that's generally what I ask people. And
And you have a young
I
daughter,
have a
correct?
young daughter. Yeah, we've got a young daughter who's 8 years old. And
So yes, you were saying.
so that occupies the majority of my free time. And that creates a tempo in my
Understood.
life that I didn't have before having children. Yeah.
Oh, this is such a
It is such a
gift.
gift.
Um,
I love it. Yeah.
yes. How do you teach your daughter to make friends?
Okay. So we just had 4 girls at our place yesterday. And so I notice her friends and I've got opinions about her friends, but I tend to keep those opinions to myself. And I feel like what I tell her about friendship is that I tell her that friends are important, but that friends change over time. And that you have a different relationship with your friends than you will with your parents, and that your friends will care about you in a way that is different from how your parents care about you and your family cares about you. So I think it's really important to have friends, but that friends change. Now, my father had the opinion, which he shared with me, that there is no such thing as a friend, and he didn't have many friends in his life. I do believe that there is such a thing as a good friend, and I've had not that many, but I've had a handful of friends who have remained in my life for decades, literally 30 years. I was just chatting with my friend Pat Wilson yesterday from Springfield, Missouri, which is where I went to high school because our 30-year reunion's coming up, which I may not be able to go to, but I believe in friendship and the friends so, just to get back to your question, I tell her that, like, it's important to spend time with people. Your friends are gonna change. Don't get too attached to any one person, especially at this age. if somebody stops being friends with you, it's probably not personal. And to try to spend your time with a lot of different kids. Like, don't latch on to any one kid because things can change very quickly. That's generally what I tell her about friendship. Um,
That's very wise and smart. Not being attached.
yeah, especially at
I think most of our suffering comes from
yeah,
attachment,
yeah,
unhealthy
yeah.
attachment.
And it's something that her reception, they call it reception, her kindergarten teacher told us is that sometimes kids will kind of pair off or they'll go into these triplets, like these triplet friendships, or there's three really good friends. And she says, inevitably by year 4, year 5, something splinters. And then they've spent all their time with that one person and they don't know what to do with themselves at that point. So I encourage her at this age to try to be like kind to everybody, to not rule anybody out, and to try to just kind of like mingle with a lot of different kids. And yeah, that's generally what I tell her.
That's probably the best advice.
We'll we'll see what she thinks later. She doesn't always like my advice, but yeah.
Yes. Well, on that note, Joseph, thank you so much. This was such a lovely, lovely
Thank you,
conversation.
Shada. Thank you so much for the questions and your
My
time
pleasure.
and having me on your show.